Hey YouTube, I'm back with another video. Today's topic will be on diet. So recently, I've just been feeling the need to express the importance of diet and the interplay of diet within the practice of meditation and sadhana, which is spiritual practice. Diet is, to me, extremely important in in the Vedic times, ancient India. Before one could even learn meditation, even learn a mantra, be initiated, they had to have been practicing for a period of time brahmacharya, practice following the laws of Ayurveda. These two things will serve the purpose of purifying the mind. And once the mind is in that purified state, then the practice of meditation becomes easier. The discipline is easier. The progress, the realization of one's own nature is more clearly perceived. And so, without further ado, the importance of diet is, so essentially you've heard the phrase before, we are what we eat. Now, most people don't realize how significant those words are. And that's mainly due to the lack of understanding of what they're consuming in the first place. For example, if you're eating junk food like lots of potato chips, pizza, McDonald's, etc., then one, you can't even really call those foods because the nutritional value within those said substances are practically zero. And so with that being the case, it's like you're just filling your body with junk. So your body will start to function like it's junk. It will function like it's broken. But really, it's just that it is clogged up with toxins. The body's filled with toxins. You've loaded it with trash, and now you expect the machine to operate properly. That's not how it works. That's not how it happens. And so what we want with this physical body, this vessel for our spirit, we want to treat it like a temple. And within this temple dwells our true nature, the self, the spirit within. And to allow that spirit to manifest completely, it's important that there are no blockages. There are many blockages, from physical to causal. Physical would be obviously the toxins within the body, certain aches and pains, stuff like that. The more astral, the more mind level things would be like ego, selfishness, other things tied around to essentially the concept of ego, the concept of self, a separate existence. And so with diet, so essentially when we think about diet, we first have to think about what is the most natural foods. Like every species has a particular diet suited to their own constitution. And so, physically speaking, our closest species to us is the bonobos. And they're known for a highly frugivorous diet. And so with ourselves as being human beings, the most natural foods for us, as said in Genesis, is the fruits and herbs, which is vegetables. Those two things is what our body needs. And the raw form is the most ideal because when you cook food, it starts to kill the enzymes within it. And those enzymes help break down the food within our bodies. So essentially, we're harming the process of our own digestion. And with that being said, so you have to think about the importance of eating naturally. And so for myself, I practice a raw diet, mainly majority fruits, secondarily would be vegetables. And that's because not only is it the most natural for us, all food has a particular vibrational quality, a particular energy level. Within yoga, there's the concept of the gunas. The gunas represent like qualities, and there's the sattva guna, there's the rajas guna, and there's the tamas guna. Sattva guna represents purity, calmness, bliss, the spiritual quality. And then rajas represents activity, motion. And then tamas represents ignorance, dullness, inertia. And so we are what we eat. So in that sense, do we want to consume foods of the pure quality, the sattvic quality, that nurtures that inner calmness, that brings out that spirit within? Or do we want foods that are more tamasic, more rajasic, where it just creates mental restlessness, or the mind is so dull that it cannot focus on God, it cannot focus on realization, meditations feel lackluster? And so I've noticed for myself that since embarking on the journey of eating natural, that one, my meditations have noticeably gotten more calmer. And I've noticed that those periods of time that I stray from the raw diet, I feel very lethargic and the mind is restless. Meditations are not as deep. My general sense of well being is all over the place. I'm more susceptible to like emotions in terms of like anger or just of the lower qualities essentially, because even emotions are categorized in gunas. Like everything can be categorized in gunas. So in that sense, by consuming the tamas, the dull quality, or the rajas, the activity, the restlessness, then I'm in that state of mind. And so the state of mind I want to be in is obviously calmness, contentment, peace, tranquility, happiness. And just by eating the fruits and vegetables, I am getting put in that state of mind. So that is doing almost like half the battle. That I don't have to sit down and meditate to first remove all negative emotions, because as soon as because the negative emotions are not there. So as soon as I meditate, I can go straight in. I can dive deep. So for you guys, so in general with the raw diet, that's the most ideal, and there are it should not be taken lightly, because the fruits are the sattvic quality. Most vegetables are of sattvic quality. Some that are exceptions are garlic, onions, and spicy vegetables, so like peppers, habaneros, jalapenos, serranos, etc. Those peppers of the rajas quality, and then of the tamasa quality, there's some back and forth, but essentially, onions and garlic are in the domains of either rajas or tamas. I've heard different opinions from different people, from different sources. And so, for myself, with the highly sattvic diet, I've noticed that just a general sense of like my life is just changing. Some things just don't interest me as much anymore, while other things like reading, music, the arts, exercise, taking walks out in nature, gardening, all of these things are becoming more prominent within my life. It's just like, and it's a natural sense of being. It's like when you start eating naturally, then you want all aspects of your life to line out that way. It's like once you start eating naturally, then the next thing is like you want high quality close to where you live in season fruits. So then you start to garden. You start to grow, some lettuce, other stuff, because now you want things that are naturally grown to fit your natural food. And then once these two things take place, then the next step is your own being becoming like a natural man. How you operate, you start to just be in tune with nature. You just start to, and almost in a way, you don't feel like you have to try so hard, so to speak. It's more like it was a dance with you and Mother Nature, and that she is like taking you by the hand and leading you to wherever you need to go. The divine wisdom from within is manifesting, it's guiding you to the proper course of action suited to your own evolution. So, foods, what should we eat? So, I've already mentioned that raw food is the most ideal form of diet, but with this process is that it's not extremely easy to cross over to a raw diet. There is a period of transition because fruits and vegetables, mainly fruits, they're very purifying in nature, which can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. For people that have lots of toxins, consuming lots of fruit will release too many toxins within their body. It will loosen up too many toxins and create more problems than good. So we have to understand that we have to understand where we're coming from once we start this transition. Don't feel like you need to jump straight to the raw diet because it's the most ideal. No, take it step by step. For you, you may be at just a point where this maybe weaning off meat might just be where you're at the moment, and then from that point on, we can start moving towards more cooked vegetables, more fruits and vegetables in general, and then over time, we incorporate more and more raw food as we decrease the cooked food. So it's a process, it's a system. So don't rush into it because it's not an end all be all. This is a process, and enjoy the process because you'll see how much better how much your life will change throughout this process. Like for myself, whenever I talk about diet, I love to use the analogy, well, not say analogy, but like the comparison of meditation. Because to me, like not the experiences, but like the analogies of the experiences coincide very well. Because like before you begin meditating, we generally think that our minds are pretty calm, because we're always inside our minds. So we think, oh, it's not too restless, we're not always thinking stuff, our mind's not all over the place. We have some control over the mind. And then you sit down and meditate and you realize, no, I have zero calmness. My mind is completely restless. And so to me, this is like that moment of clarity, that moment of perspective shift. Now that you've seen how you really are, then it's like you don't want to go back. So in the same way with the diet, once I started eating the raw foods, then I realized, wow, like one, the lightness in this physical existence, two, just the increased state of consciousness. And then once I had cooked food, because I was the transitioning, so still eating some cooked food every now and then. During the transition process, whenever I had the cooked food, I felt heavy. The consciousness came down, and then I start to see like, wow, how could I have been living before? And it was so hard to believe because I thought I was healthy. To a common person, I would seem healthy, but to myself, when I had that change of perspective, I was like, no, I was not healthy. Sure, I had no known problems, but healthy in a definition of cleanse of toxins, not at all. And so, embarking on this journey, I really got to see like into the nature of the body, into the nature of how people view the body. As I was going within on the body, it just started to expand my awareness to how other people are viewing the body, to how other people, just like how we say, like, oh, these people don't know the value of meditation, in the same way as like these people are unaware of the value, the significance, the change, the bliss that a raw food diet will bring. And so going forward, I want to, so the next video will be about essentially, so throughout my journey, I've been condensing different practices, different techniques like brahmacharya, raw food diet, sun gazing, meditation, gymnastics, energetics. And as I create more and more videos, I'll go into detail on each of those things. But essentially, they all fall under the umbrella term I'm calling divine culture. And the next video will be on divine culture and what that represents. But I want to mention now that with the diet, the raw food diet, and then I'll make a video about fasting as well, because fasting goes hand in hand with the transition process. And I still fast now 3 days every week. And so not only does diet help with meditation, it helps with the practice of brahmacharya, the practice of semen retention. It helps with controlling the sexual urges, because you're bringing in things of the pure quality of the sattvic guna. And the sattvic guna, lust, is non-existent. So by making your body a sattvic temple, sexual or lust will not be able to exist within this temple. Like where there is light, darkness cannot exist. So in that same sense, when the body is of that sattvic guna, then things of the lower natures cannot manifest, because they are blocked off. They are purified by the light of the sattvic guna. So to wrap up the video, diet is of paramount importance. It's, to me, one of the pillars of the practice of sadhana. And we should start to move towards a raw diet, or at least incorporating more raw foods and moving towards a simpler eating pattern. So, well, this just sparked an idea, and that is, so one of the things that people run into a lot, like the vegetarian slash vegan community, and I think that they're extremely healthy, is the concept of variety. Like we need a balanced meal of a varied diet. Like that whole concept is incorrect. If you think about our bodies and how they digest, they prefer simpler things, which is why fruits and vegetables are most natural, because fruit has simple sugars, simple amino acids. There's not much complex building blocks in it, so the body can more easily absorb and assimilate the properties that the fruit has. And so when we feed our bodies many different things, like let's say a vegetarian meal that you have, let's say some potatoes, some salad, some soup, maybe some cheese, and like just have a whole bunch of different items. Now imagine how your body is digesting that in your stomach. We have 10 different items. One is trying to decide what to even digest first, and then some things are not even being properly digested because of all the confusion that's going within. So by decreasing the amount of items you have within a given meal will make digestion easier, and it'll create less gas and less other problems that one would normally have. And I'll go much more in detail in the future for sure on the variety, because variety leads to gluttony, and gluttony is, as I said, one of the seven sins. So we'll stop here for today. I just want to thank you all for tuning in. Nothing but love and light for you guys and for the whole world.